Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wem Lu. You are listening to the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway. Last item really from Summer League, because really just wanted to reflect back on the wonderful 2 weeks that it was. Turns out the Sacramento Kings were very close, actually, becoming champions. That's the team that the Raptors lost to in the semifinals last weekend. They actually went on to lose the following day to Con Knipple and the Charlotte Hornets. But it was very, very close. Very close. Actually, turned out to be a really entertaining game. Not that anybody should be really spending Sunday nights watching the Summer League finals. But in any case, wanted to reflect back on the Raptors run that was and just hand out some player grades. That's why I'm dressed like your favorite sixth grade teacher. Mr. Lou is your homeroom teacher, and somebody can bring me an apple on the desk, and maybe I'll give you an extra half a grade or something. But especially because a lot of these rookies and sophomores who ultimately took place and formed the majority of the Raptors rotation in Summer League, these guys aren't that far removed from school. So, I don't know how much student athletes necessarily care about their academics, but I also know that some of these guys were actually quite good students in addition to being obviously very good basketball players. So we are going to hand out player grades. I'm going to list out their stats from the 5 games that they played in Summer League. And we'll start with the sophomores, of course, and we'll go down to the rookie class this year. Okay, first student. It's walking into this virtual classroom that I have. I believe it's Jamal Shead, who is something of a teacher's pet. Let's be real. Jamal Shead, you are my favorite. And you'll see the interview with Jamal actually coming up soon enough. But Jamal, I'm going to give him an overall grade of B+ for Summer League. For his final stats, and he played all 5 games. He averaged 13.4 points per game, 6.6 assists, 1.6 steals in 25.3 minutes per contest. Unfortunately, he shot 39% from the field, 29% or 24% from 3, and 75% from the foul line. In terms of the very scientific version of how I graded these players, in terms of the 3 stars, because I did 5 React pods from the 5 games, he had received a 2nd star and he also received a 1st star in the course of the game. So I think the main thing for me with Jamal, and the reason I'm giving him B+ instead of an A, I think when he was on, that's when the Raptors played their best basketball. I think that a lot of the time the team went as he went. Part of the percentages are really tanked by the fact that there was that very strange Denver game where he goes, I believe, 1 of 9 from the field. It's the same reason when we got to Jacoby that his numbers are tanked because he went 1 of 11 from the field. We're dealing with small samples when we're talking about 5 games. I think ultimately with Jamal, he was awesome in 2 really prominent moments. I thought he was awesome in the second half against the Kings in the semifinals. That wasn't enough to swing the game, but I mean, they trimmed a 22-point deficit down to 1 point in about a quarter, and I would say Jamal did 80% of that work. And then also that Denver game that they really needed to win. In the second half, Jamal had just an outer body experience for 5 minutes in that third quarter. My main thing with him, I think coming into the Summer League, I wanted to see him sort of take control of the team, be a solid floor general. I didn't really think he was going to lead the team in scoring, but I also thought that maybe he would bring that stability to the team. And I think in some senses, when he was on, that sort of tide raised all boats, so to speak. But there were more inconsistencies than I would have really liked to see. I think for himself personally, I didn't think that he would have so much of the ball. Going into Summer League, I thought that the Raptors Summer League group would try to at least play maybe a little bit similarly to how the main roster played. Which does have a lot of action started from the post or started from their bigs. Granted, obviously, you're not going to run the same offense for Ulrich Chomche that you would run for Jakob Poeltl. Although Ulrich did throw a couple of nice backdoor passes, but, we're talking literally 1 a game. But there was a lot of pick and roll, and a lot of offense started with Jamal. And I think that, for the most part, when they got the spacing right, when he got the right screen, when he was able to sort of use that quick burst of speed to get into the paint, I thought he did pretty well on those little push shots, those little floaters. That probably was kind of the Raptors' best go-to play was Jamal in a pick and roll and letting him sort of operate from there. Of course, I don't necessarily see that being the case with the Raptors because they just don't play pick and roll nearly as much, especially through their point guards. But in any case, I thought he did okay. I think you would love to see the 3-point shooting come around a little bit more, especially because playing that pick and roll too is just like, yes, it's great to be able to get to a mid-range floater, and he was really good at those. But I think the main thing you wanted to see was just like the pull-up three, and was he able to sort of consistently hit that and be a threat? He knocked down a couple, but ultimately 24% is what it is. Defensively was a monster. I would say that pretty much for everybody on this roster that played, that was the main reason the Raptors were so good. And I mean, Jamal said, he forced 1.6 steals per game, but I swear this guy was forcing like 5 turnovers per game. Once per game, I looked through my notes, once per game, he was able to force a moving screen. He was able to force backcourt violations. He was just a menace. He was a pest. And I think defensively for Summer League, I think he was, he had to be one of the most disruptive players, not just for the Raptors, but just in general. So he's getting a B plus. I think that, I thought really hard about giving him an A minus. I thought he had a huge impact, but I also wanted to see a little bit more consistency on the offensive end, especially considering he had the ball for the majority of the game. So Jamal, you're getting a B plus, but again, you are definitely the teacher's favorite. So you can get, I don't know, like, what do you get for being a teacher's favorite? Nothing really, actually. So don't suck up to your teachers. Just be a good student. All right, next player that we wanted to grade here, Ja'Kobe Walter. He's getting a B for me, so it's just slightly below the grade for Jamal. Now, granted, I think that Ja'Kobe was also pretty good. I mean, he was the leading scorer. Actually, no, he was their second leading scorer. He averaged 16 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, 2.6 steals in 24.9 minutes per game. He shot 36% from the field, 28% from three, 81% from the foul line. He earned a first star, which was well-deserved. That Denver game, he was awesome in that one. He was so good that he got the other guy to flagrant foul him on the way out the game. EJ Liddell, you always remembered for the wrong reasons, at least as a Raptor fan. And he also got a second star, which I believe was from the Sacramento game. I think, with Ja'Kobe, it was interesting because we got to see a lot of leeway at Ja'Kobe creating offense. Next to Jamal, Ja'Kobe had the ball the most. And I think it was a stated effort by the Raptors who wanted to see more on-ball creation from Ja'Kobe. I think the main issue with that, at least where he's at right now, is just that, like, you don't really see him, take the ball to the rack that much. When he has the ball himself and he's creating the advantages himself, he's largely going for the pull-up jumpers. We saw a lot of pull-up threes in transition. Some of those were in, some of those were out, whatever. It's a pretty aggressive shot. It's a pretty difficult shot just in general. I think even beyond making or missing, sometimes I noticed he would have his foot on the line and he'd just even have the footwork down. And so clearly it was something that he was hunting for, but I think it's something, a work in progress, because if I see a quick transition three with a foot on the line, and it doesn't go in the regular season, that's just categorically a bad shot. Versus in Summer League where he's looking to try it out. And again, this is Summer League, so go ahead and try out whatever you need. But in terms of the on-ball creation, like, he got to the mid-range a decent way. He didn't really try to settle for that, but he got fouled a decent amount. There were a couple of, like, fourth quarters where he got a key pull-up mid-range jumper to drop. I think for Ja'Kobe, that's probably the main area of improvement that the Raptors want to see from him, because defensively and in terms of catch and shoot threes, I think he's fine on those. You will want to see a higher percentage on catch and shoot threes, but by nature, it's more of a high variance shot. If we don't have the specific breakdown between catch and shoot and pull up, but I would say that Ja'Kobe probably was closer to like 35 to 40% on catch and shoot threes in Summer League versus like the pull ups were much more. The reason why he ended up shooting 28%. His defense was great. His defense was really great, I would say. He was just as much of a dog as anyone else on this roster, although there might be a surprise towards the end, because one of the players I think is more of a dog than anyone else, actually. But he was great defensively. I love the way that he was able to pressure full court. I like the way that he was able to take on bigger defenders sometimes and also guard. The point guard at different times, you saw him just pick up, again, the full length of the floor. And of course, it's Summer League, so it's like shorter games and you have more fouls. So there's definitely more latitude to do more of that. But you also didn't see Ja'Kobe foul all that much. It wasn't like he was in foul trouble, or even just had picked up an obscene amount of fouls and he was just overplaying everything. Like, he was just really great at, stripping the ball, forcing 8-second violations, and a number of times creating his own offense by getting the steal and going the other way for a dunk. For me, it's just the more that they want to, okay, I guess the area of improvement for him would be just being able to sort of be more dynamic like with the ball in his hands. Like if he's running pick and roll, he's generally speaking going to his own shot right now. So it almost reminds me of like very different players, but I remember a very young DeMar DeRozan when he was, when Chris Bosh left, basically, like obviously DeMar had to have the ball a lot more and create, and he would run these pick and rolls, but largely he was using the screen to find the space to get to a shot that he was comfortable in, and that was always his first focus. You didn't just see a lot of playmaking from DeMar for others early on. Now, granted, obviously there weren't a lot of great shooters around him or just great players in general. DeMar had to really get to the point where I think about, I don't know, 6 or 7 seasons in, when he was already an established all-star, that's when the Raptors started making him more of a playmaker in addition to just being a shooter and well, slasher really, and scorer more than a shooter. And that's where you saw him take that jump from like, hovering between 3 and 4 assists per game to being like where he is now, which is like, consistently 5+. And DeMar's a pretty good distributor now. But I think Jacoby almost reminds me of that early stage where his first focus right now when he has the ball is like, okay, how do I create some separation? It's not the greatest natural handle, and he's not the quickest guy, and it's not the biggest guy. So it's not like he needs to create a decent amount of separation to get the shot off. And then how do I use screens to sort of create that space to get to the shot? But right now it's like a little bit one note. It's a lot of like jumpers, a lot of pull-up jumpers that, he's maybe will get good at, but right now he's not currently that good at. And so I think there's the whole playmaking aspect that comes with that. And also just the ability to, be a little bit more unpredictable versus like the pull-up threes may be an option for him that he's certainly, I would love to see that being worked on first and foremost. The mid-range jumper, I think he did a great job of just pivoting and just like drawing fouls on those in general. And then going all the way to the basket. Some of that will come with strength, but also at the same time, the more of a handle, the more of a, ability to use the screen to create separation, the better chance you will get at finishing at the basket. Obviously, he's not dunking on people, but he's not afraid to take contact, and he kind of knows what he's doing around the basket. So I would love to see him get there more, but right now, I don't think his skill set's that great for that. So even though I think there was a real case to give him and Jamal the same grade, I think that I maybe expected a little bit more from Jacoby just because he was the first round pick last year. And so, he was a little bit more variable as your number one option. And in fact, that he didn't even lead the team in scoring. So for that reason, I'm going to give him a B, but I'm kind of grading him on a bit of a curve. Next player to enter the classroom, Jonathan Mogbo. Giving Mogbo a solid B. I actually thought I really had no issues with the way Mogbo played. Unfortunately, he missed the 4th game that was against the Warriors. He had a hand issue. I think he banged up his hand, I think like midway in the 2nd game against Orlando. I saw him holding it a decent amount. But I thought Mogbo was good. I thought he was pretty disruptive, which he continues to be on the defensive end. He does a good job switching. Comes out to the perimeter. I think he, comfortably switches sort of 1 through 4, maybe some big 5s. Like obviously nobody stopped Isaac Jones, who was the Shaquille O'Neal Summer League. Apparently, he actually played pretty good in the finals as well against the Hornets. Yes, I did spend Sunday night watching Kings Hornets 10 p.m. live from Summer League. It was crazy, but yeah, I mean, I just wanted to see if Isaac Jones would do that again. And he didn't put up 36 points, but he had like a solid 20-plus double-double kind of thing. Any case, I thought Mogbo was pretty good. Really no complaints. Played his role well, screen, dived to the rim, got on the offensive glass, forced some turnovers, got out in transition. Giving him B, he averaged 9.5 points, 5 rebounds, 1.5 steals in 22.8 minutes per game. He shot 65% from the field, didn't take any threes, didn't make any threes, and shot 50% from the foul line. I think the only reason I didn't give him a higher grade is just because, I think Summer League is like a good chance to come out and showcase like what you've grown and developed in. And I think there's like areas that he's sharpened up in terms of like he's going stronger to the rim, he's finishing stronger. I think that was one of the big issues for Mogbo early on last season was he kept trying to pull up short. He kept trying to shoot these little floaters and runners. And it's like, look, I know you're smaller and everything, but your main thing is you got to be aggressive at the rim. You're an energy big, right? So you got to like play and just take no prisoners at the rim. And a large focus of last season from the development standpoint from the Raptors was, okay, go stronger to the rim, figure out different ways to finish at the rim, and, whether you're in the G League, just try to rip the rim down. And again, it's a hard ask because he's only 6'7", but he is certainly very athletic, and I thought he did a good job of finishing. The only thing is he just didn't do anything new. You know what I mean? Like I think that like if Jamal came in and operated a lot more pick and rolls, right? That's not new, but the volume of his usage was new. Jacoby came in trying to shoot the pull up three a lot, especially in transition. I don't know what he specifically came in to do. He kind of just played the same role that he always does. And again, like he got better at it. And so that's why he's getting a B. But I would have liked to see just a little bit more from Mogbo. But in any case, I can't complain. I mean, he played within himself. He played a winning role. He did well in his role. And I think really the only thing you can knock him for is that he had a really quiet final. And that he got banged up for the fourth game. But overall, he was great. I loved him as a guy on the bench, too, in terms of his energy, in terms of his just enthusiasm. I thought he was featured a lot in those little short open gym clips that went out there as well. So, no real complaints from Mogbo. Again, just like I think in terms of the areas of improvement, the one thing that's been really interesting with him is just the Raptors keep saying when we ask him about him, like they want him to play it like a wing. And in order to be a wing, you probably need to get a three ball. I mean, almost definitely need a three ball. But like, he didn't really shoot the three that much. Wasn't really looking for it. Granted, he was playing more as in terms of like a small ball 4/small ball 5, and so, like they were mostly having him have sets where he's rolling to the basket. So like what can you do? I'm not asking him to break the playbook to shoot a bunch of pick and pop threes that he's probably not good at. But that's the thing. Like they want him to play like a wing. So like that ball handling, you didn't see him like initiate much offense. You didn't see him, shoot the three. He didn't play like a wing. He played like a big the whole entire summer league. So if that's the idea is to develop him more into a wing, well, you just didn't see a lot of that initiative or definitely not progress from that in the summer league. So I can't knock him for what he didn't do. I can only really evaluate what he did, and for the most part, Mogbo was solid. Mogbo was a good player, a B-level player. So let's move on to the next rookie. Ulrich Chomche is getting the first A so far. A bit of a surprise here, but I'm giving him an A-. Ulrich, obviously got a great Ulrich on a curve, but 6.6 points per game, 1.4 steals, 1.4 blocks in 19.9 minutes played on 46% shooting from the field. Obviously didn't hit any threes, and then 73% from the foul line, which I actually thought was actually decently promising. So the reason I'm giving Ulrich an A-, like I mentioned, is that he is getting graded on a curve. Once again, expectations of Ulrich Chomche were pretty clearly laid out when the Raptors drafted him. First off, the Raptors bought into this pick. The Raptors paid like $1 million or whatever to get like the 57th pick of last year's draft. And then they added Ulrich basically for free on that sense. They immediately signed him to a 2-way contract. And it was immediately clear that like they were going to sort of treat his first couple of seasons almost as if he were a player in college, but the Raptors actually just have him on the roster. It's actually kind of an innovative approach, I would say, because you just don't have like compared to baseball, you just don't have a farm system. There's no you have the G League, which is what the Raptors are using him in, but like you don't really have like single A, double A, triple A, and you can sort of like stash them, and you have pretty good control of these prospects. If you ever bring them up, there's like service clocks. I don't know. I don't understand all of it, but you have some level of control. Versus in college, like if the guy goes to college, then like obviously anyone can draft him, and he's kind of a free agent. And so the Raptors decided, you know what? Instead of sending him to college, let's keep him in our program. Let's sort of develop him, in our own way in-house, and let's see after 2 years where he's going to be. And Darko did say in the start of Summer League, he did say specifically that, when they drafted Ulrich, they knew what it was. It was going to be a 2-year process. So we're really just 1 year into that 2-year process. But at the same time, you want to see improvement. And honestly, even though the numbers aren't like popping off the page, again, 6 points, a steal, a block, it's fine. But just from an awareness and a maturity standpoint, it might be the most night and day between any of the sophomores, because we saw all these sophomores last year in Summer League as well. And my lasting impression of Ulrich from Summer League last fall was just like, the intel I got first off was just like he really struggled in the draft process. Obviously he's with Clutch Sports, and Clutch holds pro days and stuff like that. There's a lot of good Clutch players. So not in addition to like just the rookies who are working out in that Clutch day, like there were also like obviously pros, like we're talking like multi-time all-stars, and even they were watching Ulrich, like he looked just noticeably out of place. And of course, like he was super young, he was like inexperienced and everything like that. And then when we got to Summer League, I was like, okay, so that's in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, so he didn't do well in the draft process. And then I got to Summer League and I watched him and I was like, there's this, the moments where, he's just like fouling a bunch and the game's like way too fast for him. And, there's the play where he was, me and Alex have joked about this, but I remember just like being baffled that he was like expecting the referee to stop the game because his shoelaces were untied. And he like went back and forth for like 5 possessions complaining about his shoelace, which was kind of nuts. So there was like so many moments of just like not even immaturity, but just like he was just raw. He's just new. He's super young. Like you could just tell he's like a fish out of water. This time around, I thought he was solid. Like I think he, certainly the athleticism pops. We knew that. But I thought he did a better job of sort of balancing, being able to protect the rim and help on defense without fouling as much. I think that that really helped play up, I think, his overall impact on the game. You also saw him like just basically get the start over a guy like Colin Castleton, who will not be mentioned here, but obviously, he's getting an F. Like it was not a strong summer league for him. But like Colin, and it's not like the biggest thing to be like, hey, he outplayed Colin Castleton, but like I think it's important because Colin is a 5-year player in college. Played for winning programs in Florida, in Michigan, like he's older. He's like 24, 25. Like he's a guy who, if Ulrich is already like better than that at that level, then that's already a pretty good standard, especially 1 year into a 2-year development plan with Ulrich. And so I thought the jump hook looked decent. He had a decent touch on those. I thought he was good in transition. I mean, that play, one of the plays of Summer League for the Raptors was Ulrich rotating over at the rim, blocking the shot, getting the rebound, and then pushing the break. Having 2 defenders to beat, jumping up in the air and throwing a wraparound pass to Collin Murray-Boyles under the basket for the dunk. I mean, everyone went crazy when he did that one. Yeah, so seriously, everyone went crazy. So I just think that he looked more like at this level. And even, even now, like he's still younger than the 2 Raptors rookies that they brought in. You know what I mean? Like he's younger than Collin Murray-Boyles, who was a sophomore, but CMB is like going to be 20. I think Ulrich is not even 20 until December. And then also like Alijah Martin is 23, right? So like I think in terms of life experience, like Ulrich still has such a long way to go. It's interesting hearing Jacoby call him like that's our younger brother. I'm like, Jacoby, you're barely a sophomore, but that's kind of what he is. But I think he showed good progress from year 1 to 2, and I think if he makes a similarly large leap from year 1 from year 2 to year 3, then all of a sudden we might look at him as a rotation player. I wouldn't get too excited to put him in a rotation right now. I don't think that that's the right thing to do for him. But in terms of his area of improvement, I think it's really just like learning how to finish and sniffing out more opportunities to finish. I think that he has an idea and he has a plan in mind, and it's usually to get the ball, gather himself, and then go out for the jump hook. He's got decent touch on that. I don't mind that as a shot. I actually like bigs that have jump hooks because it kind of bothers me to no end when bigs have like no skill around the basket and they can only tear the rim down. But if you ask them to throw up like a 5-foot jump hook, it's like impossible for them. Like I think like he has got decent touch on that and he's working on that. But I also think that there were a lot of moments where he was able to get the offensive rebound and he just didn't go right back up with it, or he didn't really just like try to just like, throw something against the glass. And I just think there's like a opportunism about like being able to, I don't know, just like capitalize and just realize the opportunity that you had. I mean, I don't mind kickouts for the most part. Again, I'm not looking for Ulrich to like, take every shot around the rim, like, but I do think with his size and even with decent touch, like there were more opportunities that I thought he sort of like passed out of some shots. So I think a lot of that comes with awareness, and I think a lot of that is also just instinct as well. Like, you got to be, you're already huge under the basket. Like, try to make a play under the rim, and especially because he shot the free throws decently too, 73%. Like, I don't even mind if he got fouled. You know what I mean? Like, he's shooting, like, proven to be a decent foul shooter as well. So I actually came away pretty impressed with Chomche just in general. And I'm looking forward to, he probably will play Summer League again next year. And he wouldn't be out of place either. Like, damn, if the Kings can have multiple, 25, damn near 30-year-olds over there, I really wouldn't mind to see Ulrich Chomche as a 20-year-old next summer. He'll be 20 next summer. It's crazy. Play another round and just continue to see the year-over-year progress, because I think he made a good leap this year. If he makes another one, then that's what we're talking about. He's a rotation player. Lastly, in terms of the sophomores that played in the Summer League, we got to go with our man, Jamison Battle. Unfortunately, I'm giving Jamison Battle a C+ on this one. Jamison Battle averaged 9.4 points, 2.8 rebounds, 1.0 steals per game in 21 minutes on 46% shooting from the field, 35% from three, 75% from the field. He gets the 3rd star here. Now, I think this is where people might say, well, why is it like so much harsher of a grade for him, even though he scored decently? I mean, he probably was the Raptors' best 3-point shooter as well. Maybe it's like him or AJ Lawson for the Summer League. I think for me, I'm just like, with Jamison, he's so plug and play, and you can kind of fit into a lot of lineups that, I just maybe want to see a little bit more of his own creation. Like, I thought he did a good job of, shooting from the corners, shooting in transition, even a couple times cutting to the basket and finishing. Like, I liked all of those. I really have no real complaints about the way he played on the offensive end. I think I just wanted to see, like, can you be a movement shooter guy? I mean, again, like, I think because they played so much pick and roll, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for just guys to like come around curls and like there weren't a lot of intricate actions, and that's I think that hurts movement shooters more than any other type. But you just didn't see a lot of that, like you didn't really see a lot of him creating his own offense. And on the defensive end, I think he was still largely hesitant. I mean, I think there were moments where he was able to rotate at the basket and make a couple of plays. I think that's fine, but you're still kind of looking at him like, okay, I'm not really asking him to be a guy that guards wings primarily, and I'm also not asking him to be a guy who rotates at the basket and is like your help side defender. And so what you're really saying is like he's kind of just another guy you kind of like hide away from the action. Not that he's so bad that he's gonna get torched every time down, but he's just not really giving you like a big defensive boost on or off the ball, right? And so, I think that like it was perfectly fine. Actually, maybe in retrospect, I maybe want to put this on as a B minus. But for now, I think a C plus is perfectly fine. I think like he basically showed you what he was last year, and that's kind of what he's gonna be moving forward. Maybe if I think like. Again, I think that maybe the more dynamic version of him is that like he does a little bit more movement shooting, or you put him in more pick and pops and stuff like that. He's never going to be a featured guy, but at the same time, I think with a guy who could really shoot, and I really do love Jamison's ability to shoot. That's like the number one thing you can bank on with him. I think you just want to be able to put shooters in more actions, right? Like, okay, it's like there's like the Ochai level of shooting, which is like corner threes, feet are set, everything's ready, and you're just like waiting for someone to create it for you. And then there's like the Grady Dick school of shooting, which is like you're flying around screens, you're shooting it, you're like in transition, you're shooting it, you're fading, you're shooting it, you know what I mean? Like, and that level of aggression. And I think the more you're able to scale up your shooting and the more that you're able to be put into plays with your shooting ability, the more effective you're going to be offensively. And I just didn't see that much of that with Jamison. I think you kind of saw more of what we saw last season, which is, like totally fine, but, wasn't exactly like a game breaker in any way. So, we are going to then move to some of the rookies. And of course, we're going to start with the 9th overall pick from this year's draft, Collin Murray-Boyles. I'm going to give CMB a B+. He averaged 10.5 points per game, 1.8 steals, 1 block in 23.6 minutes on 57% shooting from the field, 22% from three, and 57% from the foul line. He earned a 1st star, and that was very well deserved. That was the 1st star from the Golden State Warriors game, which the Raptors actually needed to win that one. They were playing from behind all game, and they really should have been blown out in the first half based on how badly their guards were playing. I mean, Jacoby and Jamal combined to shoot 2 of 20 from the field in that game. They were great defensively, don't get me wrong, but 2 of 20 is 2 of 20, you know what I mean? So it was CMB who carried them through in that game against the Golden State Warriors. And, obviously he missed the first game because he had a lingering, I think, like hamstring issue or something like that, adductor. I don't know where that is in the body, but I think it's in the hamstring maybe. I don't know. Are there any doctors in the chat? I hope not. Go back to your jobs. But yeah, I mean, I think he missed that, and obviously, I think in hindsight, he did miss about a month, including the draft process, with this issue that he picked up. And he even mentioned that the first time he ran 5-on-5 with the guys was in his first game. That was the debut against Orlando, and so. He's kind of like trying to jump onto a bit of a moving train. And I think on that sense, that's why I'm giving him a little bit higher of a grade versus like sort of the style in which he played. Having said that, though, he also played a pretty good like summer league. I think, if maybe he were perfectly healthy and You could have the training camp all over again with the mini camp with these guys and setting up summer league. You maybe set up your offense to include CMB a little bit more. I mean, first off, he's your number 9th pick, so you should try to prioritize him. But I also think that, like, you know, if he were healthy, like, you probably see a little bit more actions similar to what the Raptors run, which is like dribble handoffs, you know, like the delay actions at the top of the floor, maybe even putting him in more pick and rolls, even have him like set up in positions to drive out of the post, you know, kind of a little bit more similar to the way he played at South Carolina last year in his breakout sophomore season for them. Because you just didn't see a lot of that. I mean, I think the Warriors game, the start of that one, he got the ball the first 5 times down. But like outside of that, like you just didn't see a lot of like, you know, CMB actually featured. In fact, if you didn't really know their resumes, you wouldn't have thought that he was their 9th pick and their highest selected player on their roster just based on usage. But again, in the moments that he had it, I thought he did a good job of playing in the pick and roll. I thought he did a good job of, attacking, in the opportunities where he could, capitalize in transition, capitalize off putbacks, even just one-on-one in the post sometimes. I thought he did a good job driving the ball. Like, these were not necessarily always, like, just layups and easy finishes. And so you did see him, like, actually score the ball decently. And I like the fact that he actually hit, I believe, 2, maybe 3, but I think 2 pick and pop threes in the course of Summer League. I think he went 2 for 9. I think that's what the 22 is, which I don't mind that at all, really. Like, I think that, he actually did a decent job of like looking for those threes. Like, I don't think that, like, I mean, this is the major concern with him. It's just like he's not a shooter, or he's a developing shooter. But at the same time, like, he's personally said he's putting a lot of work on that. I remember asking him a question too in the postgame that he did after his debut, where all the rookies crashed and it was super adorable to see. But I asked him about sort of the 3-point shooting and kind of an awkward question, but I was like, hey, you airballed a 3. But he was like, yo, it's okay, man. Like, he was like, he had a really positive attitude about the whole thing. And, he's just talking about working on it. And I'm happy he actually got a couple to drop. I think they were both pick and pop threes from Jamal. So we didn't get to see the whole entire offensive arsenal. But I think the biggest thing is the defense, man. The defense for me was just like, he has the instincts to play defense. And because the Raptors were, they were double teaming and they were pressing so much on the ball that, like, it's difficult for the bigs almost behind to sort of, because you're almost always having to read and be in help position, and so you're kind of playing obviously your man, but you're also like looking to be at the basket. I think for Collin, like, he did a really great job in the first 3 games that he played in terms of like sniffing out the danger and being able to put out fires. His hands were great. I thought, like, in the moments where there was like a 50-50 ball, I felt like he was clawing and getting it. But you saw, like, similar to in college, like, I love bigs who, yes, you can play them in drop, but you could also use them in a lot of scenarios. And you saw him trapping, you saw him pressing full court sometimes, although that certainly was done more by the guards. But even sometimes, I thought he did a good job of doing that. I thought he came over with some double teams. I thought he was able to blitz sometimes. He was able to switch. He was able to communicate those. And again, he was just in great positions to make plays. And that's why he was so disruptive with the 1.8 steals and a block in 23.6 minutes per game. That's why, like, he was always kind of like a box score monster in the sense that he, like, stuffed across the board, in college. Like, that's kind of what he showed instinctually. Like, I think that leveled up. Now, I think, granted, he really struggled in the final, and I was pretty disappointed in the final because of the fact that I thought, if anyone was going to shut down the opposing big on the other side, I thought, Collin should have been the guy to sort of step up to that task. Either him or Mogbo. Obviously, neither of them really was able to do that. And he got in foul trouble in that one, which, you go from 10 fouls per game in the group stages to then only getting 6 in the semifinals and the finals. It does change the way that you got to play a little bit. And I think that Collin was sort of like recklessly taking a couple fouls that, really put him off in his game because he had 3 fouls in the first half. But I think more than anything else, it was just like sometimes he would like also blind double, and that left guys open rolling to the basket, and the Raptors' help rotations weren't there behind them to be able to rotate. And I think, honestly, I put that more on Collin than necessarily his teammates, because some of those he was just straight up blind doubling, and it's not part of his scheme. And so therefore, like, guys aren't tipped off ahead of time. Like, okay, hey, we're going to trap this guy. We're going to trap the post. Then we know how to sort of zone up behind the ball. But if you're just going to go over and double the ball, then people aren't necessarily going to know, okay, you're there, unless everyone's like super brilliant defensively, which, the Summer League roster isn't that. They're aggressive, but they're not brilliant defensively across the board. So I think for me, the in terms of the areas of improvement, I think for Collin, I think it's just like actually more than anything else, just like picking up the right time to sort of like make his reads and his gambles. Like I would love to encourage him as much as possible to be a very active help defender. He's a guy who I think should be in help position almost all the time as much as you can get it, because that's what his special skill is. He's very disruptive. He creates sort of a lot of defensive actions just by doing that, and you want to use his instincts, right? But I also think that like the more, especially in his rookie year, I'm going to be looking to see how he reads specific matchups, how much he studies on the specific opponents, on the specific type of actions that other teams run, and then just being up to speed in terms of like making the right gambles, right? Because there is a pretty big difference between like just like being really active and overhelping, but like leaving guys open, which I think kind of happened in the Sacramento game, versus like, the other 3 games that he played, which were overwhelmingly great defensively, of just like, okay, he's in the right places and he's outthinking the opponent. And I think that like that more than anything else is going to be the big key for him. I actually, the one thing I really wanted to see coming into Summer League was like how much his finishing was going to like translate. And again, he didn't get the ball as much to sort of shoot the ball, but I think maybe this is coming closer to like what his role will be for the Raps next season, for the regular season, in terms of like not being a featured guy, but being a guy who can get involved in some actions and just like try to make yourself involved in terms of putbacks and transition and just being around the basket as a big. And I thought he actually finished pretty decently. Like it wasn't like he was like unable to get to his left hand, or wasn't like he was unable to sort of like finish over the top. Obviously he wasn't dunking on people. That's not his game. His game isn't really like finishing with that much authority, but it's like using the touch, using the craft, using the handle, using angles, understanding sort of how to use his big body to create a bit of gap and separation. And I thought he did a good job of that. So I thought he was perfectly fine actually. So that's why I'm giving him a B plus. And especially considering the fact that, he, again, was jumping on a moving train due to the injury, I thought he did well for himself. So finally going to take this drink of water, and then we're going to get to our next student here, who is Alijah Martin. B for Alijah. He averaged 8.8 points, 1.6 assists, 1.6 steals in 18.4 minutes. He shot 36% from the field, 24% from 3, but he shot 95% from the foul line. He received a 3rd star, a 2nd star, and a 3rd star. So honestly, 3 stars in this span of 5 games, I think, is fairly notable. I mean, he was definitely good in the first game. That's when he had that huge dunk against the Bulls. But I think everyone was really good. Partially, I gave him that because I think he had 16 points off the bench, but he also just had that crazy dunk. So, that was one thing. But in the games that were closer and the games that were difficult, which were the last 4 games, I would say, the Golden State Warriors game, I thought pretty much everybody off the bench was kind of like an issue. But I thought Alijah actually played tough, and he gave them the double-digit scoring. He got to the rim a couple times. I liked his use of. I think he basically realized the first half, like Chucky Hepburn had the ball the most times, and it was just like he wasn't really creating much offense. And so Alijah was like, "Damn it, man, I'm gonna create more offense in the second half." And I like the way he stepped up. I like when players take responsibility. Like I sometimes like I think efficiency can be overrated, because it's just like, okay, it's cool that if like you're converting a higher clip than other people. That's totally like the goal that everyone should strive for. But I think it's also contextual. If the game's difficult and no one can create anything, and you're just like, all right, I'm not gonna create. I'm just gonna be over here and be efficient. You're not doing anything. Versus like you actually, and the game's difficult, who can like actually look to attack and break down the defense even when the advantage isn't there and still get something. I thought Alijah did a bit of that. And then the same thing kind of the Sacramento game. So I think overall I'm giving him a B. Defensively, I think it's weird because I think maybe in a different team, I actually would have really, really liked to see him take on a bigger share of the role defensively. But in this specific team, because of the way it was built, I thought like Jamal was definitely a better on-ball defender. Alijah was definitely a better on-ball defender. And even Chucky, I thought, actually did a pretty decent job guarding the ball. And so Alijah, even though he was also quite good at it, I think maybe just comparatively, because everyone else is so strong in this facet that, he looked like 4th best, even though I think on another team he might be much better. But I liked his strength guarding more than anything else. Like, I think it was interesting watching that Kings game. They had him guarding Nick Clifford. Nick Clifford, if you don't know, he's like 6'8", Kind of like a Kyle Kuzma body, you know what I mean? Like but he's like bigger. He doesn't play as physical as Kuzma, but he's also like a ball handler, kind of attacks from the wing. Actually, I think those two guys know each other because they're from the same agency. So I'm sure they probably shared some like workout days together in this draft process. But in any case, like they had him guarding him, and I thought he did a good job. It's not like Nick Clifford was hurting the Raps that much in that Kings game, and so yeah, I mean, I think there's like the ability to scale up and down, just because he's big and I think he when he was playing not at Florida but at Florida Atlantic University, that team had a lot of point guards on the floor, like basically like size players, and so sometimes you had him on matchups against threes, sometimes he even switched on to fours, and so I think that like that's probably a little difficult to do in the NBA level. But I even remember asking Dan Tolzman about sort of what they liked about Alijah defensively on the day of the draft, the second day of the draft, and Dan was saying that they see his potential to guard 1 through 3, and so again, because like he's like 6'1", you do obviously have some questions like, okay, can he really guard threes? But I thought he did a decent job just all around. And then offensively, I think there was that punch, that thrust that you saw from him. The 3-point shot didn't drop as much for him as he needed to. I think that's definitely going to be the make or break skill. He's going to be a guy who's going to be like a 50% attempt rate guy. Like half his shots should be from 3 at minimum. He did a good job of shooting, in college. He was always a good percentage shooter in college, and he definitely shot the more valuable threes, like catch and shoot threes, maybe some pull up threes, some transition threes, and they were largely from the top of the floor rather than from the corners. So, like, he was a good shooter in college. He's got to be a good shooter to stick it in the pros. But then I like the athleticism going downhill. I like that he has like that take no prisoners approach. Like, you know what? I think he only threw down like 1 or 2 dunks in the course of summer league. He probably tried like 6 or 7, but I would rather him like consistently try to rip the rim down than to take it a little softer. Because like I think he knows who he is, man. He knows that he has this like physical build, this football player build. He's got broad shoulders, and he just kept bumping people. Like I love that he seeked contact. There were so many plays that you saw Alijah end up on the floor, or even more often the guy he was bumping ending up on the floor. Like I like that guys were trying to fight him. Like I genuinely enjoyed that aspect of seeing him play bumper cars, even though he's like only 6'1". Like it's not like he's some sort of bruiser or an imposer in there. So I like the way Alijah approached the game. And hey, I think a B grade is actually perfectly fair for him. To be fair, he is an older rookie, and so you probably needed to see a little bit more from him as compared to like even Ulrich, for example, who is a sophomore but he's super young. But I thought he actually showed you that. And again, in the difficult moments, I thought he was there for the Raps. So giving him a B, and also shameless plug. If you haven't listened to my one-on-one sit-down with Alijah, please go ahead and do that. I think it's, even just beside plugging my own work, I think it's like a good chance to sort of get to know his backstory and sort of what he his mindset is at going into the Raptors. He's a very charismatic guy, man. Kind of like I enjoyed Elijah's game. So next player here, I think this is the second last player we have because I only have one more beyond this rookie class, but it's Chucky Hepburn. I'm going to give Chucky a C. Chucky averaged 3.8 points per game, 3.6 assists, 1.2 steals in 13.5 minutes. He shot 22% from the field, 24% from 3, 83% from the foul line. He did receive a 3rd star, I believe, maybe in the Orlando game. I thought his on-ball defense was good, but it's kind of like a iffy, kind of like borderline 3rd star. In any case, I think Chucky didn't really get to showcase everything in his game and sort of everything that he's all about. The one thing with Chucky to note, actually, we have an interview coming out with Chucky later on down the line, maybe potentially next week. But in order to give you a sneak peek, because I was trying to get to know Chucky, and there were at least like 7 or 8 answers where he gave me the exact same answer. So let's hear from Chucky, actually.
More of a dog than the other player. Be a dog defensively. Just a dog, pick it up 94 feet, just try to outdog the next opponent. Being dogs.
This guy just said dogs like at least 6 or 7 times during the interview, which I really enjoyed. My immediate reaction was, Jerome, can you please actually make a Chucky Hepburn dog answer compilation with Chucky? I mean, like that's sort of like the idea that that was the idea he played with in college, right? Last year he transferred to Louisville, and he was awesome for them. I mean, he won, Defensive Player of the Year for, his division, which, I think it's just, as a 6'1" guard, I mean, probably as a 6-foot guard, honestly, like it's pretty difficult to do. But then you watch them guard the ball and watch it pick up in transition. Like he was genuinely really disruptive. There's a lot of like pick your pockets kind of moments, and I think that like that was his stated goal, and I think it fit nicely in terms of what the Raptors wanted to do. Again, it's difficult because there were so many players who played like this. Like pretty much every Raptor could have come in and basically said, "I'm a dog" 8 times. Um, but damn, though, he was a dog on the defensive end. I think the issue was more on the offensive end. So they actually tried to have him be the lead point guard for the second unit. And the way the Raptors played, like I mentioned, there was a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of playing through the guards and stuff like that. And while I would say everybody struggled largely to create efficient offense in the pick and roll, I think Jamal obviously in the times when he was on was really on, right? I think with Chucky is just like, he just couldn't really generate much offense. He couldn't really find his own standing. I think that like occasionally he was looking for the pull up three. He knocked down a few of those. I'm encouraged by that. But you also just didn't see much of his ability to create offense and score. There's one moment that stood out. There's one play where maybe in the Warriors game, but there was like he worked the pick and roll, and then the roller rolled to like seal his own man. So maybe it was Ulrich. I think Ulrich did a good job of like screening Chucky's man, and then when Ulrich rolled, Ulrich sealed his own man, which is known as the Gortat screen. And so basically he's like, all right, there's 2 defenders on the play. I've taken out both defenders. Now Chucky has the ball the whole time, and he just needs to drive to the basket and finish. And even on that, he missed the layup. And I was like, dude, like if you know what I mean? Like you have a perfect set of blocking in front of you. That's just like dropping the ball and to compare to football. So I think for Chucky is just like finding actually some level of like, just baseline offensively. I don't think he was really able to find that. And that's part of the reason why his minutes were so down for the summer league. I think that it's difficult. Like I think it is obviously a little bit easier to be as like the scorer versus like as like the on-ball guy. I think that like Alijah was usually the guy sort of beside him as that shooting guard, and you saw Alijah was able to sort of capitalize on more moments. But Alijah also has that natural gift of athleticism and that build to like be able to like thrust and get into the paint and draw fouls. Just didn't see much offensive impact from Chucky. So I mean, look, he was a guy who was signed off the undrafted market. He's largely going to play in the G League. The Raptors obviously have a decent number of point guards at their disposal, but at the same time, I wouldn't count anything out. I actually do like Chucky in his instincts, and he didn't really take a lot of bad shots either. So want to see how he develops in the G League, but he's obviously a two-way guy. He's getting the C for now, but it's chill. It can be better than that. Also, let's play the clip again because I just like that clip, man.
More of a dog than the other player. Be a dog defensively. Just a dog, pick it up 94 feet, just try to outdog the next opponent. Being dogs.
Yeah, he got to wear 13. You got to be the new Jerome Williams, man. This guy JYD for the modern era, man. Shouts to Chucky. And again, that interview will come out. Some pretty good stories in that one, actually. He has some surprising connections to some legendary Raptors point guards. We'll plug that one obviously when it comes out. Last player. I know he's not a rookie or a sophomore, but we got to give AJ Lawson his props. Getting an AJ Lawson, he's getting an A for AJ. 18.5 points per game to lead all scorers in Summer League. 3 assists, 1.8 steals in 23.9 minutes on 50% shooting from the field, 46% from 3, 76% from the foul line. He got a first star, he got a third star. He also got a rousing chorus of happy birthday, AJ Lawson. That was just very funny to see from the Denver game. Just these like 5 fans randomly in Cox Pavilion. By the way, only one of them was actually wearing Raptor jerseys, and but they were singing at every single time AJ was at the foul line, singing happy birthday, yelling more life. And it really brought like a cool atmosphere to the game. Actually, I asked AJ after the game too, in the post-game scrum, like, yo, did you know these guys? Like, are these like your bros from back home? And he's like, no, I don't know these guys at all. But they're my guys now. And it was actually great to even just like talk with AJ. He just seems like a really personable guy, if you know his story, like, he came up, obviously, he's from Brampton. I think it's obviously his family still is there. It's just, this is just home for him. You know what I mean? He was super excited to come back to the Raptors, and I got the sense that he's just generally stoked to be back in Canada in general. I actually took this photo of AJ. This was after the Nuggets game, and if you, for I guess the podcast listener, I'll describe the shirt. But he has like a Toronto Raptors shirt on it, and it has like multiple Raptors logos. And the 5 guys on here is Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Bosh, Vince Carter, and Kawhi Leonard. And it's just like a nice vintage tee, like nice little graphic tee that he was rocking. But I'm just like, yo, this guy, he's one of us, man. He's legit one of us, man. So anyway, AJ, by far has the most experience on this team. He's been in the league a couple of seasons now. He's playing on the Mavs. He's playing on the Raps. It's not his first summer league. But, he did everything he needed him to do. Like, he was one. I mean, like, the Raptors went 4-0, and unfortunately, he actually couldn't play in the semifinals. He got banged up. He took a couple big hits just over the course of the summer league action. But, like, I think the Raptors probably go 1-3 without AJ. I don't think they even make it to a semifinals without AJ, man. He was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. Like, he lit them up every single game. I think the only game he struggled was the Warriors game, and that was the game where Collin had to carry them. But even in that one, AJ was still like their second or third leading scorer. So what I liked about it is like he didn't really have to like have the ball a lot to score. Like he scored a lot without even needing it much. Like he wasn't the main ball handler. It wasn't like, not to slander Javon Freeman-Liberty again, but like it's not like Javon Freeman-Liberty having the ball all the time and slashing and getting to the rim, and like we know he can do that. Like AJ didn't even dominate the ball. He was largely just playing off the catch and just ripping threes. Obviously, he's bigger and taller, and he's just like a pretty lanky guy in general. He's 6'6", so he has a pretty high release point. He was able to shoot over the top of guys, even contested ones he was making. When he was able to sort of rip it and go, he was able to get to the foul line a lot or just finish at the rim. I thought even defensively he was disruptive. Like he's not into the ball as much. Like he's not like forcing, half-second or half-court violations or anything like that, but I thought he was disruptive. He jumped passing lanes. He was able to, break up plays. And he played hard, too. There's a lot of moments where he was diving on the floor and stuff like that, too. So, yeah, all credit to AJ, man. I thought he acquitted himself well. I think that, the Raptors, there is obviously a 15th roster spot open. I do suspect that the Raptors may do some, like, salary cap shenanigans and maybe even keep that spot open, or maybe you never know. Like the Raptors are so close to the luxury tax that you could see them sort of like move the numbers around. Even like a guy like Elijah, I thought they would sign him to a regular standard contract, but instead they signed him to a 2-way because partially because you could save a little bit of money on that, and also you still have team control over the guy. So like I don't know. I'm hoping that they could just like I feel like AJ's done enough to like sort of at least earn his current spot on the team, earn a chance to come to Summer League, go into training camp. He's been training with these guys all summer. He's been teaching these guys all Canada. And he's also been balling more than anything else. So I would hold on to AJ and make a decision sort of a little bit later on. I would actually try to see, first off, who they want bringing us to training camp. But also, I think they kind of signed the guys that they want to try out. And if it's, if you ask me, like, would you rather keep Colin Castleton or AJ Lawson? I would be insulted by the question just based on how they played in Summer League. So, credit to AJ, man. I thought he played well. More life to AJ Lawson. So those are the rookie grades. Actually, I want to hear your grades and sort of what you thought on these guys as well. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our beloved sponsor. It's officially the off season, and the Hello and Welcome boys are taking some time away to enjoy the summer. Now, our beloved Toronto Raptors are off until the fall, and so we thought instead of, squeezing every last drop of content, we'd rather squeeze every last drop of our favorite beverage, Simply Spiked. That's right, we've been telling you about Simply Spiked all summer, and it's not really going to stop here because they're made with real fruit juices, and from firsthand experience, they're very, very crushable. Now, you'll be able to bring these to split with friends at the cottage this summer or at a barbecue. I don't know how you're going to spend your summer, but you should spend it with Simply Spiked. Even if you're just at home bandwagoning the Toronto Blue Jays like us, Simply Spiked goes with every occasion. Now, my advice is actually to just get the variety pack. This way, you get to try all the flavors that are out there and see which one's your favorite. Like for me, currently, my favorite flavor is the cherry, and it's been the cherry all summer. But who knows? I just figured out that there was a peach flavor out there, and I'm looking forward to trying that as well and seeing maybe if my mind changes. I'll let you know after the summertime is done. So go grab a case of Simply Spiked at your local liquor store and bring them to your next summertime function. Cheers to everyone from the Hello and Welcome gang, and we'll catch you on the other side. Must be of legal drinking age. Please celebrate responsibly. No, let's get back to the show. Jerome.
Yes.
Super groovy, man. Thank you for putting that music underneath.
We needed a little Parisienne kind of European touch on this, just to let them know that. Oui. That's as far as RJ Barrett can talk to about Simply Spiked. Oh man,
J'adore la Simply Spiked.
we should do the very poor French Canadian version of this ad, and like Spike Simple. Like, I don't know.
Let me look at the can. Hold on. What is that?
What do you got over there?
It's just Simply Spiked.
Okay.
Yeah. Avec 5% de rye juste de fruit. There we go.
There you go.
Boisson alcoolisée. There we go. Yeah.
Can
you tell I've been using Duolingo? I have a 84-day streak in anticipation of the trip to France.
Where were we that we were waiting for something? Was it at the clutch party waiting for Alex to get out of the table that you're like, yeah, I got time to work on my Duolingo?
No, I was Duolingoing up the whole trip, man.
All trip.
I don't mess around. We're not just talking about 84-day streaks. We're talking about perfect streaks. Like, I'm not trying to hear about the streak freezes, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not real to me.
You're about that life.
No, I remember there was one when we went to like Esther's, the Italian place.
That's right. Yes.
I was like, I'm going to use the washroom, but secretly, guys, I was not using the washroom. I was just.
You could have done it at the table. We all would have been there. Oh, do you have to like actually talk into it? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean, like they have a variety of obviously exercises. I try not to skip those, so I'm like in the bathroom being like, une fille et un garçon, and I'm like, oh god, like.
Okay, so when you're doing that,
listening to this.
I was gonna say, do you go into a stall or do you just like stay in the sink area?
I stay in the sink area.
It's
way freakier to do Duolingo.
It's like if you lock the stall and they just like hear you talk from a stall in like broken French, that's nasty business, man. All right. Let's go into some of the comments from the chat. Shout out everyone who's tuning in with us because we are very much in the NBA off season.
Hey guys, I'm not gonna no surprise here, but this is our one pod for the week about the Raps. Okay, we actually have an interview dropping.
We have an interview dropping. We are scaling back, but so is the NBA. So
what do you want us to talk about?
What do you want us to talk about?
You want us to talk about Rich Paul going on the pod and being like, I got my client a good deal. Obviously, he's gonna say that. I mean, you think if Ike went on the podcast, he won't be like, "Yo, I got the Hello Boys a good deal." Like,
there you go. Exactly.
Just how Clutch operates, man. And then what's the other thing? Oh yeah, some preseason was announced.
Okay.
Raptors will be holding training camp for the first time ever in Calgary. So it'll be pretty exciting.
Calgary?
Have you been to Calgary?
I have not been to Calgary.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah.
Have you been? Honestly? Okay, tell me about Calgary. Like, give me the quick spiel.
I was in Calgary for like 3 days, so like
Okay,
so
that is a quick spiel. Actually, one of my trips to Summer League, I think the first one with the Athletic or the second one involved a stopover in Calgary.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I never left the airport, but what had happened was because there was such a severe storm, our luggage didn't make the second plane.
Oh. Wait,
and so,
okay, damn.
So we ended up showing up there, and I did not have any luggage. I went to Target to pick up the most generic clothing for the Athletic Summit the next day.
Oh, sick.
So sick.
I'm sure you didn't look out of place, Jerome.
No, if anything, I looked exactly within place. I look like I do definitely write-ups for a local team. But the crazy thing about that though was recovering that item that day was so difficult because it coincided with the infamous Rogers outage.
Oh.
So I the only way for me to contact the airport was to actually go to the airport, talk to them,
right.
and then go back and forth. It's nuts.
Well, it wouldn't happen to me because I'm on Bell, baby.
Sorry.
All
right, let's get into it. Some comments over here. First one, Clayton, new best friend of Blue Jays super fan Alex Wong.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Shouts to Clayton. If I were to buy a Raps jersey, it would probably be a 23 Shed. I feel like the Shed 23 already earned some notoriety in the last season, and I think we're really getting to this like point where it's going to be like how he's like top 2-3 favorite Raptors currently for the team. Most endearing.
He will be once you hear our interview. No, I mean, He is just adorable, man. I think that like he's about the right things. I think he's like really mature, and I think like, you know, when we were talking to Bobby, I mean, damn, this should be a Simply Spike drinking game. How many times we bring up this Bobby interview? No, but like I thought it was really notable that like unprompted he brought up Jamal and his leadership twice. I mean, I think you know, like Jamal organized for, you know, all the guys, not just the sophomores, but like even some of the like returning guys. I think who are with the Raptors this summer. To just go down to Dallas in the offseason where he's from, and he had them like work out at his high school and stuff. Like I think he just like does a lot of like good leadership stuff kind of in general. I also just like the way that he plays. I mean, offensively, I think there's probably a little bit more that you would want as a point guard. Again, his stats weren't like jumping off the page in Summer League, but you know, you could definitely tell that he has those moments where he's just like willing to compete harder than everyone else, and he has these like bursts of energy. And yeah, I mean, that's the part I like about him. He reminds me a little bit of Kyle.
Yeah.
And obviously that's such a high bar, but he's a likable dude.
There's a lot of like Pokemon evolution connections in the line of like Raptors gritty point guards who are also great leaders and like great like souls of the team type.
Jamal's like Charmander, right? Charmander is like super adorable. He's got that little fire on his tail.
Yeah.
You know,
Fred would be next after, right?
Fred is, you know, Charmeleon, a little bit more temperamental. Has a little tougher look about him. He has that scar, obviously, under his eye from Sean Livingston in the finals, and you know, can be a little bit more gruff. And then I think Charizard is definitely Kyle. Like Kyle, big body. First off, okay, big center of the body. Second of all,
big
like
bottom of the body.
Yeah, you know, like just kind of a mascot. You know, like if obviously Pikachu's the mascot, but like realistically, Charizard's kind of like the mascot for like for Pokemon as a whole. And I think, you know, like just like Vince Carter's like maybe Pikachu in this analogy for the Raptors. Like I think Vince
I'll give you that.
You know, like Kyle's more Charizard, man. If I had to actually go
Kawhi's Mewtwo.
Kawhi is definitely like a Mewtwo. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, he's only there for a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's to quote. I heard this through a friend of the show, Michael Grange, but athletic NBA writer Eric Green has coined Jamal Shead as Fred Van Sweet. It's got a lot of the Fred Van Vliet, like bench mob, like leadership qualities, but just in a sweetie pie kind of way.
So this reminds me of one of. Okay, I actually don't hate this nickname.
No,
shouts to Eric. He also tried this on me, and I didn't hate it. But it does remind me of this one tweet out there about Fred, and basically the long of the gist of it, they kept calling him Fred Van Meat, and I just didn't understand why. Like, just why do we have to do this with his name? But anyway, yeah, Fred Van Sweet is a little bit better, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Tala asking here, genuinely asking, there's maybe like 5 dudes you can make a report card for because no one else might be on the roster this coming season. So yeah, it was a deep Summer League roster. I think some of the ways that whether we were getting very invested or even the chat was getting kind of crashing out on them, like, there was a thing about how many minutes are we really getting collectively or even just like roster spots from these guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, Bobby did say that he was like, okay, I feel like there's like 12 guys on the team who can play. So if we were to reverse engineer who those 12 are, obviously you got the 5 starters in, you know, IQ, RJ, Scotty, BI, Jakob, and then you have like Sandro, who I think like definitely can play for this team, and that's why they signed him. I think probably you got Jamal in there and Jacoby. They probably feel pretty confident about CMB as a rookie. So I'd probably put him in there as well. Mogbo, I think he could play. And then I guess you have Battle. Who else is on this team, man? Oh, Ochai and Grady. That's probably the 12. Yeah. Fellowship with a ring style, you
know? Andrew here says, I am delusional about how good I think Jacoby will be.
Yeah, I think that you're right there with the Raps. I think, like, not to say the Raps should be, you know, but I think that, like, they're really high on him. And I think that, like, they keep prioritizing his development. That's probably why you see him playing a lot more on the ball. That probably led to a little bit of his efficiency going down because I think, again, like, you could always streamline guys' role to, like, pare it down and make him do the things that he's only good at and now make the overall number look better. But I don't think that actually improves, like, the abilities of the player. Like, I think you should try to explore, like, what they have in their bag. I think Jacoby shows us a lot of good flashes. I think defensively too, he's really impressive,
Sure.
man. Like this guy.
I think we also need to keep in
yeah.
mind that, like, if all things go well, this will be his first full training camp and beginning of the season
That's
with
right.
the team.
Yeah, he had the same thing as Collin, in the sense that he got banged up a little bit. Remember last year he like tore his shoulder a couple times. So
Right.
You're right. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Coach Roach with a more of a cheeky Vision 6'5".
Well, I mean, they got Vision 6'1" going. There's a lot of 6'1" guys on this team.
Yeah. A lot of.
It's gonna be a competition to see who can grow their hair out the furthest to improve their height. That's
I mean,
kind of
to
what's
really
happening.
sum it up once again.
More of a dog than the other player. Be a dog defensively. Just a dog, pick it up 94 feet. Just try to outdog the next opponent. Being dogs.
We're talking about smaller dogs though, like medium dogs. Like you can take these to the dog park, no problem, dogs.
Yeah, but like, I mean, for people who will eventually see that, like, he isn't just talking about himself, but basically all of these 6'1" current and former Raptors that are just dogs.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. From Trace124, if Chomche gets a dunk package, it's game over. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's just finishing more around the basket.
Yeah, exactly.
Around the basket. You know what I mean?
I think the thing that like is really apparent is, like you said, he's not even 20 yet, or he is just getting to be 20, and like is a pretty like NBA bodied like big player. So a lot of it, like not specifically dunking, but just like having that strength and body and power, like under the rim, finishing, things like that, like will do wonders.
For sure. Because that's primarily how he's going to score. So, dunk the ball, man. But you know what? Watch some Bismack Biyombo tape. Like Bismack was freaking amazing for the Raptors. Like if you could be Bismack, I think everyone will be happy.
Clint Capella.
Oh yeah.
Will be interesting to see which one of these young guns step up and break out this season. I think the takeaway from Summer League and seeing our sophomores, but even our rookies, is just regardless, because obviously we can't play everyone and we can't have everyone on the roster spot. Like, it just seems like there are a lot of hungry players that all are kind of in the same range, and just to see who will step up will be interesting.
Yeah. If I had to guess one breakout from these guys, I want to say Jacoby, but there's so much competition at his position. I'll say Jamal. I think Jamal gets like 15 starts, covering for IQ, missing some time.
Sure.
And I think he does a great job with it.
There were times where it felt like he was already like starting, even if he wasn't starting for the Raptors in the last season.
He had a lot of those tanking starts, that's for sure.
Sure.
And he actually led them to victories a lot of the time. Whatever, it's not. I mean, if we're talking about tanking again next season, I'll be so disappointed, man. Please.
From Andrew, AJ deserves a spot on this team. I think the takeaway from Summer League is like this is an NBA player and should be on an NBA team.
What does AJ stand for? I think we deserve to know the whole. AJ Lawson. Okay, hold on. Anthony Randolph Lawson.
Anthony Randolph.
He's probably
Lawson.
He's probably Anthony Jones Jr.
Right,
wow, he's Tony Jr. Sick.
There you go.
Sopranos reference.
I'm familiar with that game.
Okay. That's all right.
Another Chomche is ahead of schedule when it comes to development. Yeah, it felt like it was a real like jump up from last season. Yeah, and he's still so young.
Again, I relate to Ulrich because I feel like in many ways we are both learning to play the game of basketball.
Well, I can't wait to see you test that tonight on our Tuesday ride.
Your boy coming off a 30 ball, man. 30 ball this weekend. Woo! It was 4-on-4, so obviously you get more chances.
You had 4-on-4 in that run? No, that's so much space.
It was
for
4-on-4
you.
because we only had 8 people show up to the run, but we played full court 4-on-4. Your boy had a 30 ball, Did I miss my last 10 shots? Absolutely, but 8 threes.
But like you can
twos,
miss your last 10 in a 4-on-4 because otherwise no one's shooting.
And also there's one play where I missed 3 straight threes. Like the rebound just kept coming right back to me, and I just kept shooting it and I kept breaking it. But I hit a fatigue factor. So
some very endearing lore because I did drive friend of the show Jeremy back home from the airport.
Yeah, nice.
I never got to know like Jeremy's like past and like when he came here, where he went to school, all that.
Oh, yeah.
Finding out that we both
York
at different, we're both York, but we were talking about hooping at York, obviously in completely different times. And he was showing me all these photos of like the same gym that I would used to play in. It's very, very sweet. Yeah.
You guys were in the ends.
We were
just kidding, but also not also kidding. That's so sweet, man. You know, the more you learn about Jeremy, well, usually the more you learn about Jeremy, the better. So.
Yes, I think Jeremy lore is very sweet and endearing, and then the way Jeremy moves is unpredictable.
Yeah, no, and then we corrupt him. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. It's not Jeremy.
It's us. It's society. It's Canadian society that has corrupted our
Yes.
innocent, sweet Chinese friend.
From Coach Roach, that has never been his game. Great motor, moves his feet, and gets to the hoop with his physicality. It may be different with big and skilled 7-footers. This is in reference to Collin Murray-Boyles.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally fair. Like, he plays like a big forward. He doesn't play like he's not a big. I mean, he's 6'7". He's like 6'6". He's like the same height as Mogbo. Like, seeing them side by side and stuff like that will be was pretty informative. But yeah,
and just adding like from that, because it was a follow-up comment, it would not shock me if he becomes their best defender. Not sure what the offense looks like, but he can really defend.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think the instincts right away, I think, are like very visible and notable. I think that last rookie I was like this. I mean, obviously this goes without saying, because like the last rookie picked this high was Scotty. But yeah, like when I first saw Scotty, I was like, okay, first off, he's got already like a big enough body to be able to like hold up defensively. And then you just saw, like, when in Scotty's case, it was like the all-out length and athleticism, and also the ability to read the game too. I don't think Collin's like nearly as athletic as Scotty is, so he's not like all the way out there as much and using his athleticism as much. But his hands and his ability to read the game is already very evident. I think that, like, even that, remember we had our live draft party and stuff, and we were like watching, and obviously everyone was very surprised because then the Raps were widely expected to take a center.
You were on record for saying you believe he is the most versatile defender in this rookie class.
Yeah, and I still do believe that. I mean, Cooper's also quite good. Don't get me wrong, but I think Cooper's gonna be asked to do a lot more scoring and just in general be a superstar.
Right.
In a way
we're also
Collin
talking the difference between a 1st and 9th pick.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think it would literally be him and Coop for who's the best defender, and I think Collin will have a lot more energy to be reserved on the defensive end, which I think it's a fair statement.
Exactly. Andrew, in reference to Chucky Hepburn, his on-ball defense was very solid.
Who let the dogs out, man? I mean, that's gonna be
we
should play that for the whole
season. The other player, be a dog defensively. Just a dog, pick it up 94 feet. Just try to outdog the next opponent. Being dogs.
That's my dog right there.
Oh no, we're definitely gonna have to add this into our sound drops.
Hey, by the way, I when I was delirious on the last night, and I was finally at the airport. Like, I was,
right.
You don't understand. It was terrible. I didn't even.
Oh, you are on the slow recovery back, but earned slow recovery back. Yeah.
No, but I remember I was at the airport and I was like, everything's closed, and Rovan bought me a burger, but he's in a different terminal. So I'm like,
shut up, Rovan.
And I didn't have dinner, and actually only had one meal that day, so I was like pretty hungry. It was like 11 o'clock at the flight, and so everything was closed. So I was like, you get so desperate at the airport, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go to like the newsstand and go in the fridge and buy one of those like stupid little wraps.
Yeah.
By the way, that wrap turned out to be $27 Canadian.
No, that's nasty business.
When I saw the Visa charge,
what was in this wrap? What kind of wrap are we talking?
No, it's just like a regular chicken and some quinoa and a wrap. Like, it was like maybe the size of your fist kind of thing, but it wasn't whatever. It's like whatever. So I wasn't complaining. I was like desperately getting this wrap. I was like, I need more calories. So I was like, all right, I bought this like Reese's cups. It's like that. So it's like a horrible order. Okay. And I'm just like sitting down, I'm popping in, and I'm like, oh, finally, I get to crush this wrap. I'm about to hop on the plane. And then I realized I sat down, and the guy across from me, he's like, yo, I met you at the Bobby event. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, oh, whatever, man. And he's like, I'm Chucky Hepburn's agent. And I was like,
oh, shoot.
I was like, fuck, okay, I should probably put the stupid wrap away. Stop.
No. I feel like middle of the night, red eye back, all bets are off. Everyone knows what they're into.
I looked
what's going on.
Crazy. I was sweating. I was eating this $27 chicken wrap out of a fridge.
He doesn't know how much that wrap cost.
Yeah, that's true. But shouts to Chucky's agent. I was actually got to know him a little bit. He's a younger guy. He's from Toronto. He's actually coming up, and he obviously didn't know that Chucky was going to get drafted with the Raps, but he did tell us at the Bobby event. He's like, yo, Chucky had a really good workout with the Raptors. So probably should have like taken a little bit more notice at that time. But
I mean, when people watch this interview, the amount of Chucky connections connections to the Raptors is actually a little bit jarring. Yeah.
Right, it's kind of funny because out of all the agents, it's not like he picked him because he was with the Raptors. Like,
no,
he has an agent from Toronto, like a guy who's like genuinely from Toronto. He's Asian as well. You know, he's like,
there you go.
Big fan of the Raptors. So I'm like, that's sick. And then and he's
shout out to Aiden, another Asian guy who I was just sitting by Stanley Park watching them play, and then this guy just like looked at like the blonde dude and sitting in the grass. He's like, "Hey, you're like from the show too with Alex and Will?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And then,
there you go.
There you go.
We need a. So back in the day, we had terms that were made for people who enjoyed Alex and people who enjoyed me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think.
I don't want a term. I don't need a term.
We had losers for me.
That's right.
And then
what are Alex's?
Wong Joyers.
That's the worst mouthfeel. What is that?
Wong Joyers. We had
Wong, like enjoying, kind of like that. Okay.
Yeah, so we had Wong Joyers. We need a Jerome inspired term for people who are fans of Jerome as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
People can figure that one out.
Yeah, we'll let the chat decide.
Oh, you would appreciate this about Aiden. Aiden asked me what my game was like, but when I asked him what his comp is, he said Zebo.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. And he had a little bit of a Zebo game.
Chinese Zebo?
Chinese Zebo, you know?
Get ready to learn Hanson Yang, buddy. He's going to be telling people he's Hanson Yang from now on.
There you go. Okay, finally here.
We have Chung Kings. Yo, Chung Kings Express.
Chang Kings. Oh my God, that's
Chang
crazy.
King sounds worse.
Chungking Express is pretty funny. All right.
Sick.
Here's a overall view. So up on Lawson, CMB, Shead, and Chomche. Down on Walter, Castleton, and Hepburn. I mean, Castleton just doesn't need to catch. I think the Walter and Hepburn part. Hepburn. I mean, literally, it's our first look at them, and it's fair to be like I don't know. I think it's hard given his situation to be like particularly strong on it. But the Walter part, I think I guess it really just depends on what your expectation of Walter is.
Walter was like at worst their third best player in summer league, so it's not that bad. I gave him a B. Like I thought, like obviously I had expectations, but you know he met some and he didn't meet others. You know?
Right, there you go. All right, that covers it there. But finally, Will, I know the MNBA is basically done, but we still do have the WNBA going on. We're fresh off the WNBA All-Star Game. And looking ahead to the second half of the season, we're looking at who might be the WNBA MVP.
I was going to say, is this even a question?
Well, right now, Nafisa Collier is the heavy favorite at 1.14 odds to win 2025 WNBA MVP. Is fresh off of the WNBA All-Star MVP, where she set the all-time scoring record for a single game. Also well established now as mother over here with the stud buds, Natisha Heidemann and Courtney Williams over at Unrivaled.
Breakout stars of the weekend for sure.
Breakout stars of the weekend. But Will, now that we can turn more attention to the WNBA, talk to me a little bit about Nafisa Collier.
If you've been paying any attention to the W, like there's honestly no other option for MVP.
It's a wrap.
You know, maybe at the start of the season, I think obviously
I believe she was runner-up last year too, and also like made the finals. Would easily be the WNBA Finals MVP had they won in the final game. But yes,
right. No, I mean, it's like I think it's pretty clear cut. I think that she's on a great team. You know,
I'm rooting for them this year. Like usually my team is the Aces, but they're down bad. Yeah, they got to finish it.
And let's win it for Bridget as well. You know, that's like saying I'm rooting for the Spurs because I like Danny Green. You know,
right?
That's kind of like Bridget's role. But shout out to Bridget though. Yeah, no, she's like the best player in the league this season. It's not even close. You know, obviously Asia is great. You know, I think there was probably a lot of expectations on Caitlin coming into her second year, and she was phenomenal as a rookie, but she's been largely banged up this year.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a bit of that sophomore slump. So no, I mean it's Fee's award to lose. If you bet on anyone else, like you just don't really know WNBA ball. Yeah,
for this sure bet, do scan the QR code below, and I think that actually does wrap up everything. Will, you finally get to take a breather. We may come back next week. I don't know.
I'm currently in the process of like brainstorming for an idea. I mean,
right.
given the way that I like to yap, we'll probably do one show, but
Sure.
you know, like we'll see. Maybe that show will be like half Blue Jays. You never know. I mean, man,
People are asking about the Jays. Yeah.
yo, you know the Jays are in when you end up sitting down and watching a whole Jays game, man. Like, cause you know what I mean. Like baseball's like you could tap in and tap out. I was like, no, I'm seated from
Every time I
first.
check in with Alex, he's at the Jays game.
Dude, this guy's going. So Alex
I don't know
in
how he's
Montreal,
gonna. He's in Montreal now. I don't
Yeah,
know how
shouts
he's
to
gonna be at a
Alex.
Jays game. Yeah, have a great trip out there, buddy.
but he's like, the last thing I gotta do before I leave for the week is go to a Jays game again.
I was texting him about wrestling because I was like, "Oh, it's our first time really back and sitting down." I'm like, "Oh, are you gonna take in this Monday Night Raw?" He's like, "I'm at the Jays game."
He's like, I'm at the Jays game. I'm watching
at the
Kevin
Jays
Gausman throw his best start of the season, 7 innings strong, eight strikeouts. I'm watching the Yankees play some of the worst defense you've ever seen in the infield. Bro, they can't even throw to first. It was crazy. I'm watching Bo Bichette, the silent assassin, knocking a clutch 2-run double. I'm watching, Trevor Hoffman on his bobblehead night, strike out the side, 3 straight, put the backwards hat on. I think he's like 30. He's got to be like 36, 37. Like, he's like their Garrett Temple, but he's like the closer. Imagine we brought in Garrett Temple for game-winning shots. That'd be kind of cool.
That's kind of sick.
In any case, yeah, like, no, man, Jays are, I mean, like, again, like, obviously the bigger series was last time against the Yankees, but this one's just as big, and the Jays have won a record 11 straight home games. The vibe, honestly, down there, the vibe of at Rogers Center has actually been pretty strong recently, man.
And
wait,
I think
Bo's
I think
maternal
it's
grandmother's Asian? What?
Apparently,
Whoa!
says Padre 3000 here.
No way. We got another secret Bobby? Is that what Bo stands for, Bob? No, just kidding. But that's, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
All right.
What kind of Asian? She's probably Chinese. Let's be real. We just statistically so many of us.
There's a lot of us out here.
Yeah. Vladdy flying into home base. I don't know if you saw this, man, but so it was on the 2-run double. I mean, it was first and second. Stringer was on second.
So much Chase baseball. It's actually very sweet.
Vladdy was on first, and obviously Vladdy's like slimmed down and stuff, so like
Sure.
he's more svelte, whatever. But like, I mean, honestly, he probably would have got home safe on a regular slide, but he was probably like
He got some
10
air?
feet away from home base, and he just like took off
That's sick.
and like belly flopped in, and then was
Right.
so hyped with the high five after scoring them. I mean, granted, they were down 1-0, and then they came right back and took the lead 2-1. So that was.
I think
mean,
whenever-
they've just been amazing, man.
It's in basketball, in here it's in baseball too. Whenever you throw in a little unnecessary air, you know you're cooking. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh man.
Like you
So-
don't need to do all that, but you are.
Yeah.
You're cooking.
I mean, it was flexing, but I love it though, because I think like he's always the guy who's like dumping the Gatorade and stuff after the game too. Like set the tone, man. Bo is a quarter Chinese.
Is that the
Goodness, man.
math? Because if it's like maternal grandmother,
Yeah, that'd be one quarter. I mean,
quarter,
assuming
yeah.
the grandmother's
Yeah,
like fully
yeah,
Chinese and
fair.
stuff. Yeah.
There you go.
Sick.
yeah, sick. Okay, we'll close
let's
out
give Bo
over
a Chinese
here.
name. Bois.
Tallest asking us.
Bois Bichette. Oh
my
let's
god.
go, boy.
Any hello and welcome events in the future somewhere you guys are pulling up? We're pulling up to Europe. I mean, there's that.
That's right. Actually, I have a big announcement. If there are any fans who actually, how do I secure tickets to watch Liverpool?
Oh gosh.
Specifically to play the home opener, the season opener against Bournemouth. It's August 15th at Anfield. I'm trying my very best to sort of go to that game.
Sure.
I'm a huge fan of Liverpool. I'm a genuine red. I'll bring my scarf. I'll bring my multiple jerseys. Probably that purple one. But actually, I'll probably wear red just to fit in. Might have to bring my Stevie G number 8 jersey from the 2007
You might just have to
season.
do a wardrobe change at the half.
I'm prepared. I'm not kidding. I have like 7
You have
Liverpool kids.
so
I'm
many,
super
yeah.
excited to go. But for anybody who's in the UK, like, how do you actually get Premier League tickets that aren't just like $500? I mean, again, ultimately, if I have to pay $500, I'm going to pay $500. But
Right.
like, I would love to see like if there's some way to sort of get some tickets. I mean, I'm also going to be in London for the day of the Community Shield as well between Liverpool and Crystal Palace. I'm probably just going to go to a pub to watch that one. But hey, listen, if I can get tickets to go,
I think we should talk to our friends at Betway because obviously they're based in England. See if like they could just whatever kind of leads us toward there. But
maybe I'll get in the Betway box. They're like,
I
"Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm
know.
here for hello, man." But Yeah,
This is not the National Bank Open.
Yeah, and maybe even a similar call out because after that I will also be in France. I'll be in the south of France. I always wanted to go to Marseille. I love the city. Love the food, love the culture. Like seen a lot about it. It's actually my favorite episode of Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain, R.I.P. Anthony, obviously. But there's a great episode where him and Eric Rupert go to Marseille. It's always made me want to go to Marseille, have some bouillabaisse. But also, Marseille is also a cradle of football. Everyone knows about the Velodrome and sort of how passionate the Marseille fans are. They also have a Champions League in their history as well. So I'm actually going to check out Marseille as well. So just basically just want to get tickets, man. That's all.
Sure.
I'm a real fan. I'm not coming here as a tourist.
No. You're for real.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna sing the songs.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, obviously the start of, like, the seed of this trip started from you and Alex getting tickets to Oasis.
Oh, that's right.
But every one of us all just assumed you would be at least one football match, if not more. Yeah.
Right. I just thought the timing, like, I thought we might miss it just in terms of like the season doesn't really start.
But if it's going, you got to be there.
It'd be kind of pretty sick. So.
But to just answer some questions about what's coming up over the next bit. Yeah, I mean, obviously the MNBA is slowed down to the point that it's just nothing is happening right now, and this is definitely the time of the year where we would be taking it easier at the Europe trip. We won't be posting anything net new from there, although we do have... Actually, no, we'll have a Championship React pod, maybe 2 coming out during that time.
Sick.
I think we're going to try to put out some like old clips, old hits from the season to revisit.
Well, Alex keeps promising that he's going to get Serge Ibaka, so I don't know when that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. We are trying to make Serge Ibaka happen again. We'll see if that goes that way. Also, in a weird turn of events, we were supposed to go to a Norman Powell event, but now the tables have turned, and it's only Alex that can attend. So we may just get Alex content out of there.
Norm will be in Toronto this summer.
Yes.
And, Damn. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get maybe 2 more minutes with Norm, man.
There you go. Yeah. We already tried to push. I think you might have even angled. We once got 7 minutes. How can we get more? And they came back and said, "Oh, you get maybe 2 or 3."
They're like, "It's a deluxe album." You know what?
Yeah.
You go 2 more.
Here's 2. Exactly. But then beyond that, I think there are a couple things. Like, we all should be back and around in the latter part of August. Obviously, warming up to the season. Your boys do need a break, so bear with us as we get ourselves refreshed. But we also do have a couple of things that we're trying to make happen.
That's right.
So hopefully some events down the line.
Andrew Nemhard come on the podcast. AJ Lawson come on the podcast. So.
Yes. Ryan Nemhard come on the podcast.
Ryan Nemhard
Join
come
your
on
brother.
the podcast.
Yes.
Claude Nemhard come on the podcast.
Serge Ibaka, come talk to Alex wherever you guys decide to talk. Yeah.
We're working on a couple of things.
We're working on things even when we're not working. So look forward to some stuff down the line, but I'm sure you'll hear from us. Maybe, again, Will, the yapper that he is, may just come back next week for one more for the road. I mean, you know me. I'll find a way to talk about the Raps next week. But, I mean, will I have a lav mic on the road in case anything happens? That's on you, buddy. I'm not bringing my laptop. I'm not bringing shit. Woo! So... I'm bringing a backpack, a carry-on, and the smallest camera I can find. So
yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm gonna do too. I'm not gonna bring my laptop actually. That's my dedication to the trip. I'm not.
Please don't. I beg of you, don't. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No laptops on this trip. But anyway, we might see you next week. But we do have things coming out. We have interviews still from Summer League.
That's right.
We have Championship Reacts. We have a whole bunch of stuff that we'll still try to fill the feeds for you to. Still stay connected with us. But that's everything for today.
There you go. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Let us know if you agree or disagree with these grades and what you want to see these rookies and sophomores improve. But otherwise, thanks for Summer League. You guys, honestly, all of you guys did pretty well except one of them. But, that's it. So for myself, for Jerome Chang, for Alex Wong, who is on the plateau right now. Where do you think he's right now? He's probably at Falafel Tony or Pizza Tony.
I don't know when his flight is. He might just be at Porter.
Oh, he might just be at Porter. Okay, he might be at Billy Bishop. You never know.
Yeah.
He might be at Garson Troush. Take the train sometime, Alex. It's actually a nicer way to get to Montreal. But appreciate you guys. Yeah, this has been Hello Welcome Podcast presented by Betway.